And guess what? We're here. We're live. And you are live with Marvelous Talk. The usual suspects are in the house. And we are definitely about to talk some Moon Knight and some other things, Marvel Universe. But before we do, man, definitely we're going to get into some house business here, man. Big G, Max, how y'all doing tonight, man?
Doing good.
In my Terrence Howard voice, man. Uh, Sean, how you doing, man?
Man, I feel like Khonshu rewinded the tape 2,000 years today, man. It's been one of them days. But I'm happy we're here, man. I'm
Look
happy
here,
we're here.
man. Definitely, we thank you guys for watching. Make sure that if you love the content, you like and subscribe so you'll know that when we're here. You can subscribe to the channel on definitely on YouTube and on Twitch. Man, listen, we are about to get into the show. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Some things that we definitely want to talk about. That last episode of Moon Knight. But before we get into that, we're gonna get into this. You know, I hate to admit this, man, but I come from a small town in West Texas. And when you drive into the town, there's something very interesting that you see right there at the very beginning. At the very beginning, you see a sign, and the sign says something that I don't really like. It says the friendliest town in Texas. Reason why I brought that up, because I'm not friendly, ain't nothing friendly about me. You know what I'm saying? Reason why I brought that up is this episode kind of hit on that. The name of this episode, I'm gonna give it to Max to talk about, but definitely it was talking about being friendly and the woes of being friendly. Max, man, talk to me about this episode. Let's go ahead and jump feet first into this thing, man.
Hey, I'm going to start with a quick summary and then we'll give our initial thoughts about how the episode resonated with us. So we start off with Lila and an older woman, and they're just basically counterfeiting passports for Lila to get to Egypt. As the scene plays out, we notice that this lady's Lila's mom, and they talk about how they missed their dad and what would he think of the scarab that led to Amit's tomb. Then we get to the Egyptian desert with Arthur and his flock. They find the tomb of Amit and begin to dig, and they're notified that, hey, Mark Spector's looking for us. Mark, he's trying to find them. He's on rooftops. He's running around everywhere. He runs into a gang of dudes. They have knives. He's beating them up, and he's going to kill one of them. But Steven pops up. Mark blacks out, and he wakes up in a taxi headed toward the airport. He sees the same dudes basically on the street. He chases them down. Then again, blacked out. Now they're on a cliff. He's trying to find out where the tomb for Amit is. But before he can find out, the guy literally offs himself so he can't be discovered. And then Khonshu, because they're out of ideas, has an idea. He said, let's call all the gods together. There's a meeting. Arthur shows up to the meeting. He kind of gets out of it. He kind of plays Khonshu and Mark. And then there's some unexpected help. Along the way, they find out, hey, we need to find this guy named Shenfu. They find it through one of Lilo's old contacts. There's a little bit of a battle scene with some guys on horses and javelins, basically. Then there's a cost to be paid by Khonshu, which he does pay. They're able to find out the location. And then Arthur makes a visit to Khonshu and he talks a little crap. That's just the little brief strokes. We're going to deep dive in a minute. But what do you guys think overall of the episode?
Well, I first have to say, Big G called us a couple weeks ago. He was talking about all of the elder gods being there. Now, of course, you didn't see Boss or any of those guys, but he hit it. He hit it out the park. Like I said, the episode's called The Friendly Type, and I think the thing that I felt was upsetting to me about the episode is, there's a third person. I didn't think we were going to get another consciousness or another personality from Mark and Steven, but there's somebody else, because Steven was saying he didn't do it, and Mark was like, what had happened? So there's somebody in between Mark and Steven right now that is just as crazy as Steven, right? I mean, no, just as crazy as Mark, but kind of friendly as Steven, you know? I mean, because the guy let him go, and Steven didn't do it. You know what I mean? Steven didn't do it, but he also killed somebody too. You know what I mean? Because he had the knife, and he was like, "Whoa, what did you do?" And he was like, "I ain't do it." So we got another personality, and that was kind of shocking to me. And then with the Elder Gods thing, Big G, you were right. It's on you, man. What you think?
I called multiple dissociative identity disorder, and there was going to be a whole bunch of personalities come out of this character that we call Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, way before. But I ain't gonna toot my own horn. Even with the Elder Gods, I ain't gonna toot that either. What I am going to say is talk about or stay focused on the episode. The episode, as far as what I'm concerned, out of the three, this was the best, because it started tying in pieces versus us bring to our hero to a place where he might not be able to get out of based on what's going on with him. I know that there's some things we're going to talk about that happened with Khonshu and whatnot, but I think they did an excellent job with laying down Easter eggs all over the place that will really tie Moon Knight to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that was the fear of most people going into this, was how in the world are they going to tie Moon Knight, who's a character, if you're a comic book head, you know, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Outstanding job, Kevin Feige. Outstanding job, Marvel Cinematic Universe, of tying this information and this character in a huge paint stroke way, which I'm really excited to talk about. So that's what I think about the show, Max.
Well, I like that you said, both of you said actually, so it ties into what we should talk about first. Is the big scene is when Mark, is fighting the dudes on the rooftop, and then he goes in and out of consciousness, and Ahmad alluded to this about the third identity. So is that definitely a third identity? Is that Steven taking the reins? It's kind of weird, and you can tie it to the guy in the comics, Jake Lockley, excuse me.
Uno, dos, tres.
Yes, so you see the third identity, and he killed the guys. And then what do you guys think? Is it Steven? Is it the third one, or is it just all speculation up to this point? And Arthur mentions we don't know how many personalities he has.
Correct.
You know, it's another person. I mean, they pointed to it. You know, they don't waste anything, and they pointed to it in the episode, right? Because he was like, "What did you do?" And he was like, "I don't know. I ain't do it." You know, I mean, so basically, it pointed directly to another person. So being that it pointed to another person, I think we got another, but they didn't reveal to us that other person. I think we're gonna get that reveal later. And then being that he's left now without Khonshu, he's there, you know, now it's just Mark, man. Mark, hey, you're gonna have to do what you need to do, you know, because there's no Khonshu, and you're in the thick of it right now.
Yeah. I think without a shadow of a doubt, Max, this is Jake Lockley. You know, in the comic books, Jake Lockley is a huge character because he's sort of like the guy that does all the dirty work for Mark Spector. And they changed it up in the MCU because Mark Spector is a billionaire. And I think they did that to get away from the Batman comparison. And they made him like sort of like this soft guy or whatnot. But I really think that you're going to see that Jake Lockley is the most sinister out of all of them. And I'm willing to almost put the farm that there's going to be another personality come too. I'm almost willing to bet the farm that there's going to be one more that we'll see towards the end. So this dissociative identity disorder really ties to like what's going on in this guy's mind, and you almost want to wonder, man, what did Khonshu do to break this dude? You know, because he even says, "Look, I used to be able to have control of it, now I don't. So I don't know what the heck happened." You know, so it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on with the Moon Knight character.
And it'll be interesting to see if they expand on how he was broken. And if we fast forward just a little bit, the next scene, Khonshu, they're out of ideas. They're like, how do we find this place? He goes, well, there's one way. We have to call the Ennead together, call the gods. So all the gods, well, first, Moon Knight, Khonshu, is like, hey, I'm going to do a solar eclipse in the middle of the day. That should send a little alarm to them. So he does that. And then the gods respond with, you ever do something like that again, you're going to go in stone.
You're going in stone. It is.
You're going in stone, which they already have a thin patience for him. And as soon as he gets into the Pyramid of Giza, which was just awesome, by the way, just to go inside that and make it have like some kind of makes you think in real life what's going on in there. But you can just see how Moon Knight, or Khonshu, is already at odds with them. He's talking about, you guys abandoned humanity. He's like, no, we didn't. They abandoned us. So you already see the ideology between the two parties is different. And we get Osiris, Hathor, Estes, Horus, and Tefnut. Tefnut. So we see those guys. And like you guys said, there's 9. We're missing 4 of them. And then the trial begins. And honestly, I think Arthur kicked his butt in the trial. This was Johnny Cochran levels of lawyering. For all the kids out there who don't know who Johnny Cochran is, look him up. Great lawyer. Got people out of big crimes.
Got people
allegedly.
Stuff.
So Arthur wipes the floor with Mark, and even Mark admits, he's like, I'm broken. And he played Khonshu like a kid. Arthur's kind of playing chess, and Khonshu's playing chess. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. I think, but he's always been able to read Khonshu because he's been a step ahead of him. Arthur's been a step ahead of Khonshu this whole time, right? And I think he's been plotting this thing for a while. He kind of knew his steps and what he was gonna do, and so he was already ready to say, hey, you know what? Having been his voice and his avatar, I know for a fact he's over here tripping. He's bugging out. You know what I mean? So it was easy for him to do it, knowing his demeanor and how he was going to respond to everything. Because remember, he said before that he's like a toddler, a 3-year-old. You know what I'm saying? He winds way on, get his way. So basically, he already knew that all he had to do was fluster him, and he had him. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you know somebody, it's really easy. You know, like I think back to the scene in The Matrix where, you know, Neo had to fight the handler for what's the Oracle, you know, and he was like, you never truly know somebody till you fight them. And that's really that whole anecdote right there. You know, he knew Khonshu because he had to fight Khonshu. So I'm with you on that. He wiped the floor with it.
What about you, Big G?
I'll pick up on something just a little bit different, man. See, I picked up on the fact of how come only 5 of them jokers showed up, right? They summoned all of them, you know, and this is like the council of the councils, right? And only 5 of them showed up. So I think that Arthur already had like worked out a deal. And I think you see that later on where they were already leaning towards this dude anyway. And like, in order for Khonshu to actually slam him, he was going to have to knock it out of the park, right? And it's like he showed up and he was supposed to knock it out of the park, but he was straight garbage. You know, like he had no way to be able to defend his actual stance or point, even to the thing where you got to understand Khonshu can manipulate time and all this other stuff, right? So how come this rascal didn't just like showing projections? Look, here he is with the scarab. Here he is with this. Here he is doing that. He's doing all this stuff. Look, I got the evidence. He went in there whining and crying, trying to say, my word is bond. And they looked at him like, man, if you don't get out of here. Dude.
And then not only that, Big G, you got to think about it. It was the avatars leading. I mean, they could use their powers, right? We know that because when he was about to fight, he was like, ain't going to be no fighting up in here. You know,
right.
You know, basically. And here's the other thing. Who the heck is Arthur an avatar for?
He was Moon Knight. He was Moon Knight. He was an avatar right for now, Khonshu before. Oh, ain't no telling.
But who is he an avatar for now? Because only avatars can come in that place, right?
Well, I guess the best bet is Amit is who he's the avatar for. And if you guys, I mean, you guys watch the show, there was a part of it it looked like Doctor Strange. Like the trailer,
Yeah.
it had like the 3 chairs. It had the dude sitting in the back, and it was like, oh, I'm walking into the similar thing. It's like a tribunal or a governing body. And these guys are like the big bads of Egypt, which is where Khonshu's kind of based out of. If you compare that to Doctor Strange walking into who we think is the Illuminati, just the imagery was there, the parallels were there to be drawn. And it's like you guys said, Moon Knight came into it like a toddler. Khonshu, excuse me again. He walked into it like a toddler. Arthur wiped the floor with him. He kind of knew he had all the answers beforehand. He never had to think about it. And he's like, look at this guy. I'm just going to let him beat himself. It's like he's a wreck. And it's true. And, you know, truthfully, he would have been like basically in a crap river without the help of Hathor's avatar. She kind of pulled him aside and said, hey, there's this guy named Senfu. If you find his sarcophagus, we can kind of help you out and get to where you need to going. And Lila links back up with Mark. They take a boat ride down where he discusses, hey, I had it under control, like Big G said, and I just lost it. She comes across her old partner. What's his name? I'm sorry, I have it right here in my notes. Matagor? Was it Matagor? Or Morgart? No. Mogart. Sorry, Mogart.
No, because they were talking about Mandragore.
Yeah.
They were talking about that. But
Madripoor, they were talking about
Madripoor.
But that dude just reeks of evil. He's riding a short. He's riding a horse, shirtless. He's got this huge javelin. Nothing about this guy seems good. And he's like, I've collected art so no one else can steal it. And then they're like looking at the sarcophagus and they're like, hey, we need Steven. Hey, he's praying. Just leave him alone. And Steven's the one piecing it together. But if Steven's a part of Mark, all that knowledge Mark should have, right? Or he's just been locked away with Steven, that knowledge.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I was getting ready to go. He's compartmentalized himself so much. That's why I think we may see the third person because, you know, Steven is the Egyptian, like he knows all of the Egyptian stuff, right? Mark is the security. So who's this other guy? You know what I mean? If he's going to be the person that keeps them alive while there is no Khonshu, you know, that's why I said it may have been a great time for them to introduce this third personality because I think this third personality may keep them alive.
Well, in a sense, they lost a personality, but I mean, maybe getting a little too ahead of ourselves for the episode, but they're there. They get found out. There's a cool fight scene. I loved when they had Khonshu just impaled by the 3 sticks, and he's like, all right, real quick, let me just get out of this. And Steven popped up in the fight. He took over control. He showed again why he's not ready to be with the part of Khonshu's avatar. Yeah, and then they kill the guy.
He showed his connection to Mr. Knight. So you know that Mark is connected to Moon Knight. You know that Mr. Knight is connected to Steven. So now that you got this other personality, who's he connected to? Right? That's what I saw. Now, also, I got to point this out too. That was a big throwback as far as a comic book is concerned. Because the guy who you saw that y'all was talking about on the shirt and with, you know, he's riding around like he's my man over there in Russia. What's his name? That runs everything in Russia. He's riding around on a pail. He's riding around like Putin on a Russian horse, right? Who this guy actually is called, he's a character called Midnight Man, man. Midnight Man and Moon Knight are 2 of the biggest arch villain type guys. That's who this guy actually is as far as a character is concerned. Antonio Vargas, or Vargas is what they call him, Antonio Vargas. Antonio Vargas is hugely tied to
Antonio Bandera.
No, Antonio Vargas. He's tied to Madripoor.
Tell me Antonio Bandera was there.
This is the tie as far as the comic book, right? Remember when they went to Madripoor and they were walking down and you saw all the different like establishments, right? Those are trading barters and trading posts in the comic book, right? And there's a lot of sinister and evil stuff that goes on in Madripoor. But this is the killer part. Midnight Man's club that's owned in Madripoor, guess who the security guard is in Midnight Man's club in Madripoor? Jack, take a wild guess.
What's the name of the club?
First of all, I'm gonna tell you who it is. It's a character named Patch. It's a character named Patch.
But what's
for everybody
the name of the
knows?
club?
It's the one with the girls on the front that is flashing like this.
Come
I
on.
can't
So
think
So
of the
how does
actual name
Patch
of
You
it.
know
How
for a
does
fact
Patch
that
work
it's the
himself?
monkey. It's like the drunken monkey or something. You
It's
know
the
for a
drunken
fact that
monkey.
that's what Midnight
That's
Man.
the club. That's
we
the
sure
club
about that?
Midnight Man. I'm 150% accurate. That's the club that Midnight Man owns in Madripoor. And the bodyguard for that club is Patch. Patch is Logan Wolverine. So they tied this thing because, like Mod always says, Feige don't waste nada. And so because he don't waste nada, he's laying layers on top of layers right in front of your face. And unless you're a comic book head, you don't have a clue. You don't even know really what's going on with them introducing Midnight Man, saying that Layla's family's tied to it, that they've been doing all kind of sinister trades. You know that they dealt with the power broker. There was a lot of stuff going on right in front of your face. And unless you follow it, you don't know.
Well, I mean,
So that's why we say what we say.
You got to think about this. They took time to mention Madripoor.
Correct.
There had to be some kind of tie. You know what I mean? They
Correct.
took
Oh,
time
absolutely. Absolutely. And,
Correct.
Arthur again pops up while they're looking at the sarcophagus during the fight. He just shows again. He's like, here's my power. He destroys it. They're still able to get the clues and they end up in the desert. And I think this is just it all built up to this part of the episode and it just delivered so much. Khonshu was like, if I do this, I'm going away. And he knew it. And I alluded to it earlier. They lost Khonshu as part of their personality. He's locked away in stone because he turns back. So basically, they need to look for the stars and like, wow, the stars have moved 2,000 years. And Khonshu's like, I remember that night. I remember every night. He turns back time. You see the little streaks of light going, and then they see it and they find it. And Khonshu paid the ultimate price. He's locked away in the pyramid of Giza, excuse me. He's stone. And Arthur comes in there just throwing haymakers. He's like, hey, you made me this. Like, I was a hero. I liked it. I liked being a part of you. And you left me. You broke me. And now out of the ashes, that was me. I'm going to rise up and I'm going to destroy you. And that's how the episode ended. And it was crazy to think Khonshu's out of the show. I mean, I think he's definitely coming back. But how did we get there?
That's how you do a really good show. You introduce the characters, you put the characters in some stuff, then you get them out of it. And we've just officially got put into some stuff. Now it's like, hey man, look, all of the players are here. We have trouble. We're so used to seeing when Mark Spector and Steven are in trouble. We're so used to Khonshu coming in and becoming Moon Knight and bailing them out. So now it's like, what are they gonna do? You know,
right?
G, here's my question for you. When they finally did get Khonshu and they put him in stone, right? And he said, tell Mark to come get me. How? Yeah. How's Mark gonna free him? Like, I mean, I know we're gonna see it, but is there something that Mark knows that, you know, if they put you in stone, this is what you do? So I'm wondering, you know, I'm definitely wondering if, you know, Mark already has a plan or something drawn up, you know, for Khonshu.
So peep game. Khonshu says, I can't do it by myself. And he said, do what I do. Right? Ain't that what he says? He's like, do what I do. Do your hands like this, follow it like this, right? As Khonshu got locked away, Moon Knight got stripped. But that doesn't mean Mr. Knight got stripped. Mr. Knight is tied to who? Stephen Grant. So, and also, if you notice, if you go back in the episode, he couldn't turn and put the suit on when it was daylight, which lines directly up with the comic book. His powers is based on the phases of the moon. So basically, what you just saw was a handoff. You saw Khonshu leave a little bit of his power with Mark Spector in them because he knew he was going to go get bottled up. And that's why he made the statement, hey man, tell Mark, come get me, bro. Because I'm dropping this off to give you enough to where you can still get Mr. Knight. Because remember, Mr. Knight is powerful too. And he's like, Mr. Knight, you can switch up on this dude and you can go in there and fight. That whole process was just like off the chain to me because that is so comic book accurate that is unreal, right? I
Well,
got
what-
another big. Go ahead, Max.
No, I was gonna say just what you said. I don't think the powers with Mark Spector necessarily then, because the Ennead knows about Mark. They talked to him in the pyramid. I think the powers
Right.
with Steven. Like you said,
Yes.
Mr. Knight's gonna be there. So now we have
Yeah.
to see this guy who, let's be real, doesn't know how to fight. So it's kind of going to be like, hey, we're basically starting episode 1 now because we basically have to watch this character learn how to be a superhero. And if
Right.
Mr. Knight's still in the show and a part of Steven like throws one punch and he's like, yeah, look at me. And it's just like, no, dude, you don't know how to do it. You have to call him
Right.
Mark as soon as you get hurt. So now it's going to be about the growth of Steven. And I think this might be a way to balance Steven out, where Steven's not just 10%, he's 50% of the personality or whatever. It's more of a balance now.
What if Max, this third piece of the why did they introduce? That's why I'm just saying they don't waste nothing, right? These series are well directed. Why? Just answer that question. Why would they point it out that this isn't Mark Spector? This isn't Stephen Grant. Neither one of them know what happened. Why would they point it out that there's a third person there if that third person didn't have a role to play? So I think y'all are both right, but I think the power is going to lie with the third person. I think the power is going to lie with the new character that we're going to get.
If it's the third person, it's going to be even more of what I said. It's going to be it's basically a brand new show. It's like, who's this guy? Who is he? What's his name? Does he know how to use the power either? He might be a little better than Steven because he's kind of capable of killing people. We've already seen that.
Correct. But this is the deal. The moon is in 4 cycles. So that means there's got to be 4 personalities because the moon moves in 4 cycles.
Well, we have Khonshu, we have Mark, we have Steven. Maybe the fourth one's, maybe we already got the 4. Like the fourth one, we just got to see who it is, but we've seen him.
Correct. It moves in 4 cycles. So you got to have that 4th cycle. And remember, the 4th cycle of the moon is when it's all the way full. So that's when that's max power. So that person has got to be the one that is. Mark might be quarterbacking, but the person that we're going to get introduced to is going to pile drive everybody in front of it and open up the way for the quarterback to go in and save Khonshu. Trust and believe that's going down. 4 cycles for sure.
I definitely think so.
It's wild. It's wild to see it's wild. First of all, I'm gonna tell you guys, I said something and I wish I could, dial this episode back to the first one like he did with the stars and say, I wasn't that interested. I'm not that I'm into it now. I'm invested. You know what I mean? I'm invested.
Max.
Who could have foresaw this turn of events?
I'm invested, and I think it got interesting because of the layers that we're playing with. We're playing an episode. I love a show that's written with at least 4 layers. We're not just dealing with topical, you can figure it out that fast kind of stuff. I don't like that.
So do part of the layers basically are part of the layers the Easter eggs that the show leaves? Because that's what I want to discuss next.
Yes.
So we already hit on a couple of them, but we got Jake Lockley. He's the third personality. We're our fourth, I guess, if you want to include Khonshu, that we're all speculating. Like Big G said, he's the guy who does the dirty work. He was a taxi driver. We got the mention of Madripoor. We hit on that. We hit on the fact that Midnight Man's in the episode. The only one left, the Overvoid. They said it so quickly without really anything else. And Big G, you're the expert on this. So what is the Overvoid for those of us who might not know a lot?
Okay, so I ain't gonna go long, but I just want to give y'all just a little paintbrush on this, right? So the elder gods, which you're gonna see, who is Chthon in Doctor Strange, he's an elder god, right? They got banished to different dimensions based on their connectivity to humanity. That's why Khonshu is still lingering around the earth, because he's still connected to humanity. The other elder gods, they got an avatar, but they don't interfere. They just want to sort of watch, at least the 5 that we saw, right? So the Overlord area is where all the elder gods went except for Khonshu and Chthon. Chthon went to a different dimension. Khonshu stayed on Earth, and the rest of them went to this Overlord, right? So what they're doing is, like Hamad said, opening up layers to let you understand that even outside of time and space, you have multiple dimensions where different creatures and stuff live, or different not creatures, but different perspectives of heroes and villains live. So there's going to be like a battle world going on in that realm, right? And the big part about it is you saw you saw Khonshu rewind time, and when he did it, he used purple magic. Purple magic is dark magic. So he pulled from that realm where they were banned to and rewound everything in purple 2,000 years. Do you realize the ramifications that actually could have on what's going on? That means everything that happened 2,000 years ago is back. Everything. Or at least there's been a pocket dimension created where all of that stuff lives at. The Stones, Thanos, Tony Stark, everybody live off of this dimension that this dude, just Joker, just rewound time with. So
Well,
I'm like, man, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God.
Wow. We've already seen Mordo talk about in Doctor Strange, like every action has its recourse. So anything you do, there's going to be a price to pay. And that's kind of the part of the multiverse of madness we've seen where you've messed with time. Even Wong said it. You can't mess with time. If you do that, it's going to be really bad.
Right.
And Khonshu mess with time. So like you said, we're going to have to see the ramifications of this if there are any. There could not be any. Kevin Feige could just be like, I just want them to all think and talk about it on a podcast for 10, 15 minutes, and it's not going to matter. It can matter a lot. It really could. We just don't know yet, because the way it ended with Arthur just, crapping on Khonshu, it just left us open. It's like they ended on a cliffhanger, but they do every week.
Yeah.
I don't. So when I say that there's layers, here's the thing. I think Arthur played the game out perfectly, but left something out. He left a hole out where he's something he didn't think about, right? Because I'm thinking that he plotted all of this out. He knew Khonshu was gonna do what he did because he said, "You're getting desperate." You know what I'm saying? He knew he was gonna do what he did. He knew that there was going to be a gathering of the guard. He probably has even struck a deal, like G said, with a side deal with some of these elder gods, right? Probably struck a deal with him, right? So he could walk in. But like I said, the thing that I'm not seeing and the thing that's crazy is, who is his avatar? Who are you an avatar to? We don't know, because we haven't seen you bug out. We saw you use that daggone staff, but who the heck?
Which had purple magic in it too, I might add. It was purple every time he used it. And I know that's some of Ahmed's power, but Arthur played the game, man. If I was going to give a winner for the episode, it's got to be Arthur, and the loser's got to be Khonshu, because he paid the price today, and he got outworked. He was outclassed by Arthur in almost every way this episode. Do you guys have a winner or a loser?
Well, let me say this. I don't know, because this is what I'm gonna say. I'm on camera with two chess players that are very good, right? So what happens when you put a dude in check and you don't put him in checkmate, and you mess around with him too long? When you mess around with him too long, when you put him in check, you need to finish it in like 3 moves. It needs to be a wrap, right? You messing around with that Joker for too long, you in trouble. And so what Arthur did was put Mark Spector in check, but didn't put him in checkmate. And that's what you're gonna see.
But that's what I'm saying, though. But I said that, G, and I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that Arthur played his hand way too fast, right? Yeah. And I think he played it all the way out, and he was ahead of the curve on this one. But something he didn't anticipate it's something to do with this third personality that showed up with Steven and Mark, and we says Jake, but it's something to do with that. I really believe that. But to answer Max's question before we get into the actual casting again, to answer your question, Arthur won this episode. This episode. He ain't win the whole thing. This episode, Arthur got the best of it. He got the best of it.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but if I put you in check and I don't win, I'm pissed. So he might have won, but he might have won the battle, but the war it's a wrap. You can already see it.
The war's just
it's a
beginning.
wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we leave? Did you guys like the little Lila part in the beginning of the episode?
Oh yeah.
I think it's gonna pay off in another part. I think
Is there
you
like
know
a comic significance to who her father is? Because they alluded to him as just kind of just building up the character in a sense.
I don't know, but I that would
it
be
is.
G's thing. I'm not gonna put G on the spot. To see if G can go back and kind of get us some kind of specific on that. But I mean, honestly, bro, because is Lila even in the comic book?
No, Lila's not in the comic book, but the
Right.
character she's reminiscing is Mark Spector's wife that's in the comic book. And Mark Spector's wife's dad is a major like tie to the power broker, right? He did all kind of conniving stuff, trading back and forth and all whatever else. So they built a new character in, but they're still making references to the comic.
Well, that would just tie back into Madripoor, and then we're just
Mhm.
intertangled in the web of the MCU and the Moon Knight show, I guess.
In a loop, yeah. But the mention of Madripoor was curious because once again, it's got to pay off. They don't just haphazardly do stuff and not paid it off. So I'm thinking that we're finna get some really really key information. But switching gears a little bit, man. We have started this whole thing with casting and giving casting grades for movies in previous movies in the MCU. Before we actually get there, man, I have went back and watched Spider-Man No Way Home a couple of times. Some things that I've noticed I'm going to talk about on Saturday. So, man, I mean, I got a whole laundry list of stuff that I didn't catch first time around, but we're going to talk about on Saturday. But Max, talk to me, man. Who we got for this week's casting call? Who we got?
We're going to be in the MCU this week, and I wanted to talk about the first Avenger, Captain America. So we got to start with Chris Evans, obviously, and we're not going to grade him as the Human Torch. Let's just grade him as Captain America, aka Steve Rogers. I give him an A. I like Steve Rogers, man. I think he kind of had the all-American thing going. Just you kind of believe this guy was too good to be true. Like even in Civil War, when he's kind of in the wrong, you're like, he's just following his heart, and his heart's so pure, you just want to root for him the whole time.
Yeah, I agreed. I think the CGI wasn't really that good with putting his face on the little dude, but even there you were rooting for him. Even there you wanted to see him succeed. So I'm gonna one up you on this, man. I give him an A+. Give him an A+. To me, he fit the role. Him and Robert Downey Jr. embody the roles that they had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're A+ to me.
Right. I was going to put him on the same level as a T'Challa casting or a Thor casting. They built the character. They found the person and they built the character, which they used some of the comic book stuff, but they sort of put their own spin on it. So I give him an A for sure. Definitely good casting.
Okay, I'm glad we agree about that one. So the next one would be Agent Carter, Haley Atwell. Mod, you go first.
I like her. B+. I think we could have got. I don't know, man.
What's missing? What's missing from her performance, you think?
So it's not from this movie that it really gets me. It's from What If. Because if we're going to play the scene all the way out and she is, Captain Britain or Agent Carter and she got powers, I want to see somebody a little bit more rugged. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Gal Gadot with Wonder Woman. She's okay, but I want to see somebody with some grit have that role. You know what I mean? So That's why I gave her a B+.
All right, Big G.
I'm more around the A- range with her. The reason why is because I'm one of those guys that watched the Agent Carter show. That came on ABC.
Wow. People watch that?
I watched the whole thing. I didn't miss an episode. I was loyal. So I watched Agent Carter every week, and I saw her play the role of that character. And then for them to bring her back and make her a pivotal and significant, which we all think that she's going to be in Multiverse of Madness as Captain Carter. They might do some CGI with her, bulk her up, and so she's going to take on the feminine role of a Captain America to save it all. Yeah, I'm going with A for sure.
I'm going A plus, man. I really enjoyed her in this movie.
Wow.
I'm so hyped that she's coming back. I just always have liked her as an actress, and I think the sky's the limit for what she could do. And it's going to be interesting to see if and how she pops up in the Multiverse of Madness and as Captain Carter. Because what if that was a really pleasant surprise having her in there? I would really enjoy that episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then let's go with this. Tommy Lee Jones is Colonel Phillips or General Phillips. Tommy Lee Jones in the MCU movie is so freaking weird. I give him a B because he's doing his thing, but man, he's just like Tommy Lee Jones. He's just being himself.
I give him a B for barely. You know what I'm saying? He barely makes it. I'm talking about barely. A B minus for barely. So that's my grade.
He did have one of the best one-liners though in MCU when he's like, "Hey, don't look at me. I'm not gonna kiss you." I was like, "Respect, my guy. Throw your one fastball."
Man, I give him like a C, man, and the reason why is because he's Tommy Lee Jones in every movie. I don't care what type of makeup you put him in. I don't care how you dress him up or dress him down. The person of Tommy Lee Jones comes through on every character. So, like, I didn't see another guy. I saw Tommy Lee Jones in a Marvel movie. So that's why
he's also been old in every movie I've ever seen him in. Yes, I don't mean to be mean.
Yeah, he's always been.
Who's the other guy? Danny Glover. He's another old man who's just always old in movies, bro.
No. What's my guy's name?
Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis been old too.
You know who I'm talking about. He played in Glory.
Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman's been old ever since we've seen him. He's that guy. He's another Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman started out in the 70s in the electric company. Max, that's way before your time. So there used to be a show that came out
don't be an ageist, all right?
Electric Company. Right, but I'm just saying there was a show called Electric Company, and Morgan Freeman in the 70s, he looked sort of young. But he's been around.
But you notice, G, how you had to put the sorta in there. I mean, he's been old for a long time, bro. He's been old.
Yeah. So then, about Stanley Tucci as Dr. Einstein? Was not Einstein. God, it's escaping me. He's the doctor who creates super soldier serum. Big G, help me out with the name, please. Erskine. I don't know how to say it well.
Dr. Erskine.
Erskine, yeah. I thought he was great. I gave him a B plus. It was like a little run, but he did a really good job.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I B plus, A minus. For what he did, absolutely. He built up Captain America. He said it's not about this, it's about this, and that's all he had to do to lay it down for the character.
Mon.
See,
like
I don't remember him. That's how he's in the script for me. Like, I remember the role, I remember some of the dialogue, but I don't remember his face. So he was nondescript for me as a character. So, I think with me, in order for a character to be viable in a movie, you can't forget who they are. Kind of like Ryan Gosling in The Notebook. You can't forget that role. He played that to a T. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna forget it.
Did you cry during the movie?
I don't know what crying is. See, sometimes what happens is that you have allergies. Now, if you're asking me if my
did you have allergies during that movie?
If you're asking me if my allergies acted up during the movie, yeah, my allergies was something was happening. There was something in the air. It was some dust. I don't know what it was, but I had to go stop and take some, some medicine so that my eyes would stop sweating. But yeah, it was allergies.
Okay. So what about Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark? I'm gonna start. I give him a D. I like the old man Howard Stark they have. Like, I didn't like him at all, man. He's just annoying to me. He's just like a troll. He's just annoying. I don't know if it's a better grade because I hate the character. Yeah, I hate Howard portrayed by that dude. I like John Slattery as Howard Stark a lot more in Iron Man. Like when you see him,
I like both of them. Yeah, I like both. But Max, listen, maybe it's just me. Howard Stark, man, you can never give Howard Stark a D. Howard Stark.
Man,
you always
he's a
gotta-
D as a father. First of all, horrible
Yeah, he
father.
sucks. But that's how we
Horrible
get
sucker.
Tony Stark. That's how we
Yeah.
get Tony
He's
Stark.
trash.
He
So
probably would have been a better
he's got-
Tony Stark if he got a hug once in a while. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Right, but I'm saying Howard Stark, man. Howard Stark is the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no Tony without him. There's no Amadeus. There's no all these other Starks that's going to come through this. There's no Iron Man. There's no nothing without Howard Stark. So he's got to start at B and work his way up to me.
Mon, what did you think?
I again, another character. I like the older.
Yeah,
Howard
so
Stark.
you like me too. Yeah, you're like me too. You
I
like
like the older one. I like him better. I think he played his part better than this one did.
yeah. There was nothing endearing about the way he did it. So with that, we have 2 left, and you guys can pick which one we do first. We got Hugo Weaving as Johann Schmidt, aka the Red Skull, or we got Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes.
Okay.
Which one is?
All right.
Wow.
So another A+ that I gotta hand out. Right.
Who's it for?
Well, I gotta hand it out for both of them. I'm not
Wow.
even gonna lie to you. Both of them are memorable in their performances, so much so that when you brought them back for different movies, you were looking for those guys. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And having those guys, when we saw the Red Skull on the planet with the Soul Stone, I'm like, yo, buddy, I remember you was causing havoc. You was turning up. You know what I'm saying? And to see him, like, I didn't kind of learn my lesson because I'm stuck here. I still turn up a little bit, but listen, I'm just doing what the Soul Stone won't. You know what I'm saying? I'm serving it. I thought Johann was really good. He was really, really good. And Sebastian Stan, perfect. When I say perfect, he is the Winter Soldier. Definitely.
I agree with one of those grades, but I'll wait for Big G to answer.
Well, in my opinion, Sebastian Stan has had the most development of any Marvel character you've seen on the big screen and on the TV shows. The way he started and what he is now, the character development for that guy has been better than anything I've seen. So he automatically gets an A+ to me. Now, the Red Skull, my ties is because it's the Red Skull. And the Red Skull means a lot as far as guys that love comics, because we know how pivotal this guy is for all kind of stuff. So they just didn't give him enough. He was part of the Captain America movie, and then all of a sudden he disappears. And then like Mike said, we see him again in Endgame or Infinity War. So like I want to see more of him on the screen because he's not dead. We know he's been released from that realm. So can we get some more Red Skull in the MCU? So for now, B+, A-, but Sebastian Stan, A+, over the top.
I would give Red Skull an A+, but I agree with everything you said, Sean. I was going to say, if you give me like a grade for how he was utilized, I give like a D because he was really good, but I just want more of the Red Skull. I just thought he was so good at causing havoc. He was just like, I'm out for Red Skull, nobody else. I don't care. I'm gonna move the chess pieces in my way. Like if pawn goes 1 up, he's like, I'm gonna move it diagonal. I don't care. I can rewrite it. For Bucky, I give him a B+. I like Bucky, man. I like Sebastian Stan. It's just, I don't know. There's always been something about the way he did his part that kind of just left me wanting more. I just want more Bucky. Maybe I just want to see more good Bucky, but I don't know. I feel like there can maybe be a better alternative out there. I don't know. Like the jury's out on him for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a better Bucky. And one thing I should know, Johann, I like his character. Every time I see him, he is a great actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he with Agent Smith in The Matrix, Buddy is a killer, man. I mean, every time you see him, you like, wow. He plays his freaking part. He plays, and then in Lord of the Rings, he played his part as I forget what his name was as he was an elf, but I forget his name. But I mean, he played his part. He's a great freaking actor. He's a great actor.
And that's all I got for today, though. That's all. I did Captain America 1. There was a couple of minor characters, but they kind of tie in a little later, so I'm saving them.
Yeah, Max, don't act like you didn't watch Lord of the Rings?
I was going to say, if you want to do parting shots, I got a really good one. So if you can go ahead and do it, I'm going to surprise you right now.
I cannot believe that we're sitting up here. I feel like I'm in Bizarro
Come on,
World.
do the party shot. I got you. I'm gonna surprise you.
Okay, so let's go. Parting
I
shot.
haven't seen The
Here we
Matrix
go.
or Lord of the Rings, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Any of those movies. I don't know who Neo is.
What?
Yeah, I have
You've
no
never
clue.
seen The Matrix or The Lord of the Rings?
No, I never even seen like 10 minutes of either. I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, I'm just gonna not do it just so I can be that guy.
So
Wow.
let me get this right. Let me get this right. You will go to Hogwarts and watch.
Oh
Harry
yeah,
freaking
I'm
Party.
Hogwarts all day. I'm Gryffindor, baby.
No, you will watch Harry Potter, but
I'm seeing Secrets of Dumbledore Saturday, by the way. Yeah, that's how I'm in. Bought the
But you
tickets
won't
early.
watch Lord of the Rings.
That's too long, bro. I ain't got time to sit on my butt for that long.
Oh my god! Like
I know Dumbledore's in Lord of the Rings. Well, he's not Dumbledore. He's someone else. Like Dumbledore's more iconic than anybody from Lord of the Rings. So I'm gonna say.
No, Gandalf.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, but you have to watch it.
I'm not watching it.
You
Go
gotta
ahead.
watch it. Man, I'm
Move
telling
on,
you, man.
sir.
Oh my
Move
God.
on.
Parting
The
shot.
ma-
Gee, I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
Max threw me for a loop. I almost got sidebarred. It was good. Forgot what I was supposed to have for my parting shot. But listen. You guys, I've been in the rabbit hole. I was in the rabbit hole this last weekend, man, and I didn't want to come out. I went in there at about 2:00 in the afternoon, and when I came out, it was like the moon night. Some days had passed. And I was like, man, what am I doing down here? All I'm telling you is that like Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, but Black Panther 2, oh my, man, listen. It might break every record that ever exists for every movie. It just might do it.
Mod, have you ever heard him say this before?
Listen, I called Spider-Man No Way Home. Matter of fact, me and Mod called it months ago, like way before it came out. We said, listen, this is either going to be the greatest Marvel movie that ever was shown, or it's going to be a straight up dud. And then as we got closer, way before it got released, we was like, man, because we had been in a rabbit hole researching, and we was like, man, this thing is about to land the plane, bro. And sure enough, it landed the plane. So just like how I called that before with this one, and I'm way ahead, I'm telling y'all, the Black, I'm gonna love all of them. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, but Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I'm talking about this thing is gonna be on Star Wars level, man. And I'm not joking. I'm telling y'all straight up, this is on Star Wars level.
It seems like this might be the best stretch of Marvel movies we've ever got with these 5. There might not be one dud.
I can totally concur without a shadow of a doubt that you are about to get 5 movies that are 5 stars back to back to back to back to back to back to back. It's so easy. They're layups because they're continuations of other movies, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have the build up just like you had with Civil War, and then in Infinity Wars, and then Endgame. Like you had the build up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So each one was kind of stacking on top of each other. I think you're gonna get that. My parting shots before I get to it, I just got to tell Max something's wrong with you, man. Return of the King. If you don't watch any of the Lord of the Rings, if you don't watch them all, just to get the characters. I mean, because the first one's gonna start out kind of slow. You know what I'm saying? Frodo.
From what I hear, they're all slow.
Frodo, Bilbo, all of them. You know, you're gonna kind of. It's gonna start out kind of slow, but I'm gonna tell you something. Strider, who later turns out to be the king.
Way to ruin it for me. Thanks. Now I'm not even gonna see him. I was gonna see him before you said that.
By the time you get to it already, if you just watch Return of the King, he's already gonna be the king. He's already gonna be there. You need to watch it. Just go there. Start with Return of the King.
All right, maybe, sir. Maybe.
I promise you will not be disappointed. Now, so my parting shot. I just want you to know, I'm not getting ahead like G is, but I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna be the best 2 hours and 6 minutes that we ever spend at a movie theater. I mean, literally, it is going to be a ride from the time that you sit down in your seat to the time that you get up and the ending credits come on. We're going to get Thor: Love and Thunder. We're going to get that trailer at the end. And the reason why I think we're not getting that trailer, you guys, is because there's spoilers already in it. So we can't get it. So, you know, it would just kind of tell off on certain things. But I'm going to tell you, listen, man, I'm so excited for this movie. If you don't got your tickets, make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you're ready, because this is going to be the best movie. I'm talking about from the time you actually sit your butt in the seats to the time you get up. I'm anticipating a whole bunch of clapping when the movie is over. I'm anticipating a whole bunch of people going left when the movie's, and I'm going to watch it at 11:05 at night, you know, on the Thursday night, and it's still going to be electric in the room. But that's my parting shot, is get ready, get ready, get ready. I'm going to tell you, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will be something special. 2 hours, 6 minutes.
I just saw Morbius, so good luck topping that, guys. Good luck. Good luck.
Wait a minute. I ain't even seen Morbius. Matter of fact, I ain't even seen like trailers of, you know, when Morbius still in theaters. You know,
listen, out of all Fox properties, out of all the Marvel related properties, I'm telling you, this one gets the ultimate 2 thumbs down. This
you know, like when you take an SAT and you get like 400 points for just writing your name. That's what Morbius is. It just wrote its name and didn't turn out the rest of the quit test. So that's it from me, dude. I'm done after I mentioned Morbius. I got to stop.
Well, listen, we thank you guys for showing up and showing out with us, man. Just hanging out with us on this Wednesday night. Of course, if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. We do have a TikTok, so you can find us there on TikTok as well. Definitely want to share our content with you and yours, man. For myself, for Big G, for Max, we thank y'all for kicking it with us. We will see y'all Saturday morning. Peace.